Hi, so this is my presentation for the topic of ad blocking. My scenario deals with the topic of ad blocking, and it pertains to Mary. And Mary wants to use an ad blocker, but because of the consequences that we're going to explore more in the presentation, it creates a dilemma for her if it's ethical or not to use an ad blocker. So to discuss the topic of ad blocking, we must first understand online advertising. Online advertising is another method businesses use to reach out potential or current customers using digital advertising. And it's a way for platforms to gain revenue by using their platform to advertise them. With technology on the rise, it's no wonder that we see all these advertisements on the websites. 2022, internet accounted for an estimated 63% of US ad expenditure and is expected to surpass 68% by 2026. One of the most popular forms of online advertising is display advertising. There's graphic ads on specific sections of a platform. They can be obtained through purchases on platforms such as Google AdWords, and that cost is calculated by the cost per click. Ad blocking is the action or practice of using a special piece of software to prevent advertisements from appearing on a web page. There are different ways to do this, but the most common way is obtaining software. And not everyone is okay or content with these online advertisements that you see on the internet. In fact, from a survey of an age group 18 to 64, uh, the survey count was 10,000 people. 27% have stated that they use ad blockers when browsing the internet. In the US, over 50% of adults use an ad blocker on their desktop. The fact that some people use ad blockers and some people don't raises the question of why, and it deems it relevant to us. So with using ad blockers, there are some societal issues that come along with it. Advertisements are a source of revenue for the platform hosting the advertisement. If an ad blocker is blocking that ad, it won't generate revenue. What was once free access to the platform could be threatened. According to reports from Adobe and PageFair, ad blocking could cost advertisers a total of more than 40 billion. Another issue that ad blocking brings is that some ad blockers are controversial on what they block and don't block. Some ad blockers require payment to fully function, and the fact that, for example, AdBlock Plus is being paid by companies to show ads. So even if you wanted to ad block, there's not a clear certainty based on this example that you'll have your ads blocked. Another societal issue is that some advertisements contain malware. That is why some people decide to use it. Some ads require you to click them, but others don't, infecting the system when the page loads. Blocks defend against unexpected pop-ups and anything malicious coming from the ads. This is a major benefit from the ad blockers, but because of the other issues ad blocking brings, such as reducing revenue, it creates controversy. This is why it's a societal issue, because malware is something anyone can be exposed to through searching the web and can become rather serious if they're used to obtain sensitive information. Some are going to want to protect themselves via ad blockers. It creates conflict of interest for those that use ad blockers for revenue. That use advertisements for revenue. Using an ad blocker comes with its pros and cons. First, delving into the pros, an ad blocker can ensure a better online experience. Ad blockers go through scripts of the web page and omit them. This will speed up the process of loading pages or download speeds without the ads eating up wireless data. As discussed before, ads can pack malware into them to infect systems. Some don't even need to be opened. With an ad blocker, you are able to prevent any malware coming from an ad seeping into your system. The final pro I'm discussing is that ad blockers can keep your internet information private when you browse. Likewise, with malware, ads can use third-party third-party trackers that can keep tabs on your interests, which are sold or used to develop specifically targeted ads. With an ad blocker, this is all prevented. Now, the first con of using an ad blocker is that it risks your browsing data privacy. This is ironic because not using an ad blocker can do that as well. Some ad blockers sell and send the data to third parties, so it's risky to choose which ad blocker to trust. Second con was recently discussed in the last slide regarding how some ad blockers are being paid to show certain ads. This completely diminishes the point of having an ad blocker if it's going to let ads display anyways. Last con was also touched upon in the last slide regarding the impact ad blockers can have in terms of revenue for the site. Some rely on the revenue for the ads to maintain their businesses, or better yet, the free content that we can access. Now we're going to explore some intended and unintended consequences of ad blockers. When ad blockers were very first introduced, the founder of the software stated that it was always about individual empowerment and that it was about giving people the option to choose whether or not they wanted to opt into receiving ads. It was also intended with the use of ad blocks to protect ourselves from malicious ads and from the sites that tracked our browsing, as we discussed before. For the unintended consequences, the unintended consequences from implementing ad blocking is that businesses aren't guaranteed to receive their revenue from ads, thus putting their sites at risk. Another intended consequence is the controversy it created around itself. Not everyone agrees with it due to the consequences it can have on businesses and free content that everyone can access. Some people have the viewpoint that exposure to ads is the price to pay for free content. Most recent events pertaining to the ad blocking were Apple allowing content blocking with restrictions, the German Supreme Court ruling that ad blocking is legal in 2018. That begs the question of what is next for pertaining to ad blocking. Because of what's happened in recent years, I do not think ad blocking is going to go anywhere. This is supported by what's happened with Apple and what's happened with the German Supreme Court. It's also supported by something that the very first creator of an ad blocker said. He said, because of the third-party nature, it makes it hard to design the kind of ad delivery network where you can't figure out what's an ad and what's not. It's hard and doesn't fit the kind of economics on the ad delivery side very well. These are references for the presentation, and this concludes my presentation for ad blocking.